Hey man, if you've ever wondered why the women you treated the best were the ones who walked away, while the ones you stayed cool with chased you like crazy, this is the video that's going to open your eyes forever. Because the brutal truth about female psychology is this: women don't attach to men who make them feel secure. They attach to men who make them feel like they're not quite good enough yet. Not because they're broken, not because they're cruel, but because of one primal law that governs female behavior: hypergamy. The instinct to seek out the best man they can possibly lock down, and that instinct doesn't attach to comfort, it bonds to challenge. Now, this isn't about playing games or hurting her intentionally. It's about understanding how attraction and obsession actually work in the female nervous system. Women are biologically wired to chase emotional ascent, the feeling of climbing, of earning, of becoming enough. When you hand her the entire mountain on day one, when you pedestalize her, when you tell her she's perfect and give her full emotional security too soon, you kill the one thing that makes her attach deeply: uncertainty. Because when a woman knows she already has you, the thrill dies. But when she's unsure, when she feels like she's always 80% of the way there, she chases, and in that chase, she bonds. Women love to say they want emotional safety, but they only chase emotional security when they have to work for it. You show up and validate her every move, she'll thank you, and then ignore you. But you show up with grounded presence, with emotional self-control, with high standards, and a vibe that says you haven't fully earned my soul yet. She will try harder than she ever has, because now you've activated her competitive instinct, her hypergamous drive. You're no longer the man who made her feel good. You're the man who makes her question herself, and that man is the one she can't get out of her head. Hypergamy isn't about status alone, it's about emotional rank. You could make millions and still get ghosted. You could look great and still get cheated on. Because the second she feels above you emotionally, the attachment breaks. She needs to feel like you're slightly out of reach, not in a manipulative way, but in a natural, grounded, high-value way. She wants to earn your validation. If you give it too easily, she doesn't trust it. But if you give it in doses, if she senses you're not emotionally conquered, she'll crave your approval like oxygen. When a woman says, "I like a man who's emotionally available," what she really means is, "I want to earn emotional intimacy with a man who doesn't hand it out to everyone." Women attach strongest when your love feels earned, not assumed, when you're emotionally selective, when you open up slowly, when you reveal yourself in layers. But most guys, they dump it all up front, tell her everything, validate constantly, give her zero tension, and then wonder why she's cold, why she stopped texting, why she's chasing the guy who barely notices her. Simple, because he made her feel uncertain, and uncertainty is emotional cocaine to her. You've been taught to make her feel like a queen, but queens don't want servants, they want kings. Kings don't grovel, kings don't give away their energy for free. Kings make you rise to their standard. And when a woman senses that your attention, your approval, your emotional connection is earned, not given, she starts becoming invested. And the deeper that investment, the harder it is for her to walk away. Not because you manipulated her, but because she attached to the journey, not just the man. Hypergamy gets activated not when you give her the world, but when you make her question if she's good enough for yours. Let that sink in. When she feels like your life, your peace, your energy, your discipline is higher level, she instinctively starts performing, not for you, but for access to your presence. And that feeling that she needs to earn her spot in your life, that's what makes her obsessed. That's what keeps her loyal. Not comfort, challenge. Women love what they build, not what they're handed. You give her your whole heart before she's proven anything, she's flattered, not attached. You stay mysterious, intentional, emotionally grounded. Now you're a challenge, and challenges activate emotional depth. This is why she'll fall for the guy who gives her mixed signals, who disappears for 2 days, who never fully commits, but then ignore the guy who's texting her every morning. The problem isn't that women are broken. The problem is you haven't mastered how to create emotional pull. Women don't bond through comfort, they bond through emotional highs and lows. When she's laughing with you one day, then wondering why you're distant the next, she starts spiraling, she starts questioning, she starts investing, and the moment she starts chasing clarity, she's already bonding. This is the formula no one teaches you, because society wants men weak, predictable, and safe. But women don't attach to safe, they attach to alive. And alive means unpredictable, emotionally layered, high-value masculine presence. A woman only chases when you make her feel like she doesn't quite have you yet. You don't tell her this, you show it, you move slower, you take time to respond, you don't overreact, you make her feel your boundaries without preaching them, you stay calm when she's chaotic. You flirt without giving full emotional security. And the more she tries to lock it down, the more you reinforce your independence. That push-pull energy, that's what keeps her spinning, and in the spin, she spirals into attachment. The man who gives her all the attention up front is never taken seriously. You become validation, a dopamine hit, a temporary fix. But the man who makes her wait, who keeps a piece of himself behind the curtain, that's the man she can't stop thinking about. She tells herself, he's different. I don't know what it is about him. And what it is emotional scarcity. You didn't flood her with availability, you made her earn proximity, and she loved it, even if she won't admit it. This is the reason she cries over the man who barely texted back, but forgets the guy who called her queen every day, because obsession doesn't come from certainty, it comes from emotional disruption. You are the storm she can't read, the book she can't finish, the level she can't beat. That space between I think he likes me and why didn't he reply is where she gets hooked. And that hook, that's attachment. Not to the man himself, but to the emotional roller coaster he created. So here's the harsh truth. The more emotionally secure you make her feel too early, the more she detaches. Not because she's toxic, but because hypergamy whispers, if this man is easy to have, he must not be high value. That's how deep the instinct runs. That's why she picks fights when things get too calm. That's why she pulls away when you validate too much. She wants tension. She wants to feel like she's rising. You give her that, she won't just stay. She'll obsess. You want to know the fastest way to become unforgettable to a woman? Make her feel like she's almost good enough, like she's close to earning your full emotional investment, but not quite there. You give her affection, sure, but not devotion. You give her time, but it's measured. You give her praise, but only when it's deserved. She starts wondering what she has to do to fully win you over, and in that wondering, she builds an emotional story around you. Not because you manipulated her, but because you positioned yourself as a high-value man with standards. And the second she believes your approval is earned, not handed out, she starts chasing it like a drug. And here's the craziest part. When you finally give her your full heart after she's earned it, she'll value it like gold, because it wasn't free. It wasn't desperate, it wasn't needy. It came from a man who made her rise. And once she rises, once she grows, once she stretches herself to meet your standard, she attaches harder than ever before. Why? Because now, it's not just about you. It's about the version of herself she became to be with you. And she doesn't want to lose that woman. Most men think they're doing something noble by making a woman feel emotionally safe before she's earned it, but all you're doing is giving her the ending of the book before she's finished the first chapter, and when she already knows how the story ends, she closes the book. But when the story is still unfolding, when she's still unsure where she stands, she keeps reading, she keeps investing, and that's how emotional addiction begins, not in comfort, but in curiosity. Not in security, but in tension. Women are not drawn to perfection, they're drawn to elevation. They're magnetized by men who force them to grow, to level up, to question their own behavior. You challenge her emotional habits. You don't feed her validation every time she gets insecure. You don't rescue her from her own chaos. You stand strong. You let her feel the discomfort. You show her what it means to rise to your energy. And when she does, she bonds. Not because you coddled her, but because you led her. You want a woman to fall in love? Make her feel like you could have any woman, but you're choosing her, not because you need her, but because she's met your standard, because she's proven herself, because she's grown into the kind of woman you actually want to keep. That's a very different energy than the man who needs her to validate his identity. One man chases love, the other commands it. One man gives it away for free, the other makes her earn it, and that man becomes unforgettable. This is why women will leave the guy who adored them for the guy who ignored them and not even understand why. Because one made her feel complete, which eventually bored her. The other made her feel like she had more to prove, and that mystery created obsession. That dynamic flipped her psychology. She kept returning not to him, but to the version of herself she was trying to become in his presence. She didn't love his indifference. She loved the chase. And here's the twist. Women don't always want to win a man. They want to earn him over and over again. If she ever feels like she's done working for your attention, she stops valuing it. But if your presence feels like something she must continually align herself with, if she knows your respect can grow or fade depending on her behavior, then she remains in pursuit. And the woman who stays in pursuit is the one who stays attached. You never become the reward. You remain the challenge she loves waking up to face. So what does this look like practically? It looks like being kind but not reactive. Being present, but not available 24/7. Complimenting her when she earns it, not just because she exists. Pulling back when she acts entitled. Moving forward when she's emotionally open. Flirting, but with restraint. Loving her, but with standards. Because every ounce of emotional effort she puts in to keep your interest multiplies her investment. And when she's invested, she gets attached. And when she's attached, she doesn't walk away easily. The deeper truth is that most men are afraid to let a woman wander, afraid to let her question her impact, afraid to be silent, afraid to be scarce, because they've been taught that love is about constant reassurance. But real masculine power says this: I don't owe you emotional certainty just because you want it. I give you access when you've earned it. And if you don't like that, you're not the woman for me. That attitude isn't toxic. That attitude is magnetic. Because it tells her your attention has value. And anything with value creates obsession. You can either be the man who makes her feel good or the man who makes her feel growth. One gets thanked, the other gets chased. One is remembered fondly, the other is remembered forever. That's the power of being emotionally unavailable to the undeserving, but deeply available to the worthy. That's how you hold a seductive vibe without even trying, because your energy says, I'm not here to make you comfortable, I'm here to show you what it feels like to rise. So stop trying to be the man who makes her feel secure before she's earned it. Stop trying to rescue her emotions, fix her self-esteem, or prove you're not like the other guys. You don't prove your value with words, you hold your value with presence. You don't convince her you're a high-value man, you live like one. And let her calibrate to your standard, because when she has to earn your emotional intimacy, she'll protect it. And when she protects it, she gets emotionally attached at the core. So here's the final truth. Women don't fall for the man who gives them everything. They fall for the man who makes them become more to get anything. Not because he's cruel, but because he's disciplined. Not because he's toxic, but because he knows his power. And once you stop handing out emotional comfort to every pretty face, once you stop trying to win her by playing safe, you'll become the one man she never forgets. Not because of what you gave, but because of who she had to become just to get close to you.